about the change that he made. And that's why we go to him, because we see that he already is making changes in this food system and in the whole system of hospitality. And he did that in a certain way. And that's the story we want him to tell. In a world where a food system is breaking, some are choosing to rebuild. Welcome to a journey of flavor, purpose and impact, where visionary chefs lead the way, turning kitchen into catalysts for change. From farm to table, field to flame, they are proving that every dish can be a revolution. This is more than cooking. This is the future of food. So the whole idea about these podcasts is actually that we create an audience with it. And at some point within this audience, we will start a Kickstarter project, a Kickstarter or any kind of
fundraising.
Yeah, fundraising project.
Crowdfunding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Crowdfunding. And we do that crowdfunding by pre-selling the books at a certain amount. I think 1,800. I have to sell 1,800 books, then we can actually start a project. But then that's why the focus now is on this podcast. And actually the content that we create in the podcast, we can also use for the books later. So I'm working together actually with a girl from Holland, a woman from Holland actually, Caroline Postma, and she wrote a book, Binge Marketing. And she's traveling all around the world to give TED Talks about it. And it's actually based on Netflix. So at some point, she was actually addicted to Netflix. How come that all these series really make me watch the next one? And she found out actually that if you have this problem also, like with binge watching sometimes, watch them. Watch the last one that you watched. And then the next one, stop it after 8 minutes. Then you don't feel like watching it anymore. Because within this 8 minutes, you still have information from what you saw before. So there's nothing extra new. And after 8 minutes, they start to give you all these kind of things that your brain is going to be like, oh, I need to watch more because I'm not fulfilled now. But within the first 8 minutes, it's just like giving your brain all the information from the part that you were missing before. So if you stop after 8 minutes, that's done. So so she was like, why don't we do that in marketing? Like marketing is always about campaigns and then you never reuse it also. And it's never about like, we want to watch more. So she wrote a book about that. And now we created a workshop, which is based on the hero's journey. And the movie about Little Fish.
Oh yeah, Nemo. No, I haven't seen, but I heard of it, and I read, of course, like all the theory on hero's journey, and I was studying that. So I read the book itself.
Okay, so you can actually also base that on audience. So at some point, the hero is like in his comfort zone, and then he has to come out of. That's where his journey starts. So your audience also starts a journey. You have to take your audience out of a comfort zone and then they go on a journey with you. And that's actually how we built this podcast as well. That's the structure of the if you read the bit book, at the summary, that would be actually the back of a DVD. Like, okay, this is actually what our podcast content. It's not only content, it's books, it's documentaries, it's everything. But that's where actually these documentaries, podcasts, books are about. That chef.
I see. So it's like using all the classical methods of building a story like in a podcast. So it's like storytelling instead of just making an audio recording. So yeah, that's what I like in the way you approaching it, because definitely it's like, yeah, the way people listening to stories, like when the story is built in the right way by using, all psychological methods, definitely you can make an emotional connection with the audience, and it means they
Exactly.
they want more and they continue listening to the stories. Like, that's the way our brain built. Like, really, people need stories, and that's the way they explore the world.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. So we're not going to interview the chefs in a way like we ask him a question and he gives an answer. No, we have a certain amount of questions, of course, but that's actually only to give a direction to the story, that because we already know which story we want to hear from the chefs, because that's why I'm going to Saigon now to actually already do a little bit research to this story. If this story is interesting enough, is this somebody that I have to really pull on him, or is he easily? I give him a question and he's just like bam, 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 talking for hours. So that's the research, like the character, like how, do we have to ask a lot of questions? So it's actually preparing the writer, like, okay, this is the kind of chef, so probably you have to put a little bit more energy in it. But we actually, the podcast is not like I ask a question, you give an answer. No, it's like,
yes, I understand.
Gonna tell us positive story about the change that he made, and that's why we go to him, because we see that he already is making changes in this food system, in the whole system of hospitality. And he did that in a certain way, and that's the story we want him to tell, because that could be inspiring for other chefs to actually make the next step and to become a hero themselves and a mentor themselves at some point. So it's all about mentorships as well. And if you have a good mentor, like the best mentors I had were actually the storytellers. Not the rule and then you had to learn it out of your head. But like I had a history teacher. He was a perfect storyteller. I didn't have to do any homework because his stories were in my head. And when the exams came, like I just pictured him in front of the class telling the story, and I had all the answers. So that's what we want to create with this podcast as well. Like the chefs all become mentors, and they become mentors of themselves as well at some point.
The idea is also, only to put emphasis on their, professional achievements, like developments related to sustainable, like the development of sustainable food systems, or it's also like opening them as humans, and showing their personality in a way and how it correlates with the way of working. Like, do you put an accent on their personality as well or not?
Well, it's related to each other. All the chefs and all the chefs that we interested in are actually, they do these things because they have a certain personality. They're not ego driven. They're more, well, they look with a lot more love to the world probably. And they like to be a man.
So that's why I'm wondering, if you plan to, also to pay attention to this aspect, because for me, it's like the most interesting part, because then it's not about cooking or food systems anymore. It's about people, and different people can connect to people no matter what topic it's about, right? So even if it's like...
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point. We have to keep the focus on that as well, yeah? Because otherwise you just become another professional magazine. And like I said, like this mentor was also a very good mentor because the way he told the story, you got a connection with him. So it's all about connection as well. Absolutely. But we don't want it to be like a Netflix chef's table thing that it becomes a dramatic thing. And then it's like, it's nice for the audience. For chefs, it's actually not interesting anymore. So we have to find a balance in that. Like, we don't want too much drama in it. It doesn't have to be cold in a cold professional way, but, we're not going to ask question like, so, and how many years did it take you to come over that problem? Was it hard? Was it? Tell me how hard it was. Did you cry?
Seriously.
Of course, he's gonna tell about what made him move, what made him make the decision. So the one in Saigon, he was actually a banker before. He was a refugee, escaped to America, studied Harvard there, and then became a banker. And at some point, he was just like this whole thing. I don't like it anymore. I don't get it anymore. It's not me anymore. I'm not. It doesn't make me happy. And then he started to pick up the cooking thing again. So yes, of course, that's the story that we want him to tell, because I can actually name you like 5, 6 other chefs that had a similar kind of way, that they actually didn't start as a chef. They didn't went to school, actually. They just started cooking at some point and just became very good in it. So, and that's actually changed, that you like all these really high-end chefs. A lot of them didn't even come from the hospitality scene, or didn't come even from a hospitality school or whatever. So our audience is also it's not only the professional chefs, but it's also the amateur chefs that just like. So he's one of the examples for us. Him being a human and not only being a chef is a big part of his story. So yes, of course, we're gonna talk about that a lot as well. And if you have an angle that you think like, oh yeah, but I would be interested in this part as well, then yes, please just give us an angle. Because the more angles that we have from more people, then probably we reach the audience that we want to reach. Every plate tells a story, and this one's just the beginning. Join us next time as another chef steps up to the challenge, blending tradition, innovation, and purpose. Because when chefs become mentors, change becomes possible in every kitchen and across the food system. Until then, stay curious, cook with care, and keep moving the table forward.
So I think my strong sides and competencies are more related to building relations with people. Because again, I used to work in IT field in hiring for a while. So I really know how to build connections, and I know how to find the right people.